Hello, welcome back to a new video. My name is Stevie. This is Stevie Reads. We are going to be doing a book haul today, and it is a much needed book haul. I have 48 books here, and we are going to go rapid fire because I just barely tried to film for like 15 minutes and I didn't even get through half of this first stack because I was just freaking yapping, and I was like, this video is going to be a million years. I'm not going to tell you synopsis. I'm kind of just going to tell you the reason why I got it, but we are doing rapid fire because oh my god, that took so long. So hello, welcome to the video. We're doing a freaking book haul. First up, we got House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. The last time I did a book haul was back in February, so I got this almost 5 months ago. We're gonna go in chronological order here, and I still have not picked it up. She's kind of a behemoth. I didn't love the second book in this series, so I own it because I own every Sarah J. Maas book. I have a whole freaking shelf for her. I love her other series, but unfortunately, this is my least favorite series of her. Have not heard good things about this third book, even from people who really love this series. So that made me even more nervous. And yeah, thankfully I got it at Costco, so it wasn't very expensive. But what the heck, Sarah? Like, come on, I know you can write really well. Anyway, Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I've already read this book. It's 4 stars. I feel like I've talked about it in quite a few videos, but this is my favorite Ali Hazelwood. She Should Always Write Paranormal. Love this. Next up, we got Fae Bound by Sarah El Rafi. I think that's how you say this author's name. This is a Fae fantasy novel, and I know it also has to do with sisters. I'm pretty sure it's about sisters who stumble into like this Fae land that hasn't been like discovered in hundreds of years, and yeah, sounds interesting. Love a Fae book, love a sister story, and the cover is gorgeous. Also, I heard it's gay. I'm pretty sure one of the sisters is a lesbian, maybe with a Fae, who knows, I don't know. Next up, we got Twisted Secrets by Katie Robert. This is the third book in this older series of her that is getting new covers, and I haven't read the first 2 in the series, but I own them, and I had to add another book to get a free shipping, so I just added this book to a cart one day because it was pretty cheap. And I kind of regret buying it because since I bought this, I read another one of Katie Roberts' books, Neon Gods, which I've owned for a couple of years, but I read it and I didn't love it, and I think I'm just a little bit burnt out on Katie Robert because I feel like a lot of her books have the same kind of plot lines and it's getting a little old, so I don't know. Twisted Secrets, we will see, but I'm not going to buy any more books in the series until I freaking start reading it. Next up, The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. The only other book I read by this author, I gave 5 stars. That was Priory of the Orange Tree, and I read that like 5 years ago, but I'm still excited to read this series nonetheless. These are like the 10th anniversary editions, so they're rewritten a little bit, and they just sound very gorgeous, and yeah, love the cover as well. Next up, Happy Place by Emily Henry. This was not my favorite of her books. I gave it 3 stars. It's a second chance romance. That's not my favorite trope, especially when I think the reason they broke up in the first place was kind of dumb. Yeah, didn't love it. Then we got Darkly Madly Duet by Trisha Wolfe. So this is 2 books in one. I've had my eye on this series for about 5 years, but I never bought them because I didn't like the covers. But this new omnibus version with 2 books in one, I think they made it pretty cute with like the black and the red and everything. So decided to pick it up, but I've had the first one on my like want to read on Goodreads for literally over 5 years, and I finally picked it up. So now that it's on my shelf, maybe I'll actually pick it up and read it. You know, a girl can hope. Okay, I feel like Trisha Paytas talking so fast, but I just don't want this video to be a million years long. But okay, next up we got Kim Ji-young, born 1982 by Cho Nam-ju. This one is about a South Korean woman. You know, we follow Kim for the story, and it just, the back sums it up really well. So if you want to pause and take a look at that synopsis, it would take a second to read, but I do think it's pretty beautiful, and just a story about a woman in her 30s, I believe. I think this is a story that's relevant, or you know, a lot of women this day and age can relate to. Also, I found this recommendation by Chloe Bunny. I trust her opinion, so excited to read. Then we've got Hopeless by Miss Elsie Silver. This is the 5th book in the Chestnut Spring series, and I've only read the first 2, but I really liked both of them, and I just wanted to get this because I know it was the last book, and so I wanted to make sure I got the edition that matched all my other copies in the series because didn't want it to sell out. But yeah, excited that now I have all of them on my shelves. I do think they are good summer romances because they're very country, so hopefully I can just keep getting through it. But yeah, this is the 5th and final book. Then this is a book that I'm going to haul here in this video, but I attempted to read it and I gave up at around 55%. That is A Nordic King by Karina Halley. This was in my most recent video if you are curious about all my thoughts and opinions, but it's a single dad romance. Didn't end up loving it. So yeah, whenever my next unhaul video is coming out, this will be featured in that one as well because I'm gonna get rid of it. Next up, we got The Mermaid of Black Conch by Monique Rafi. This was such a beautiful story. It ended up turning very heartbreaking, but it's about a mermaid. It's gorgeous. It made me cry. I think this cover is stunning. The US edition is so disgusting, so I'm glad I was able to find this UK one, but oh my god. This one ended up being very, very good. Really good audiobook as well. I listened along and like highlighted quotes, but the audiobook, they have a Caribbean accent and it's very cool listen to. So then we've got Post Traumatic by Chantel V. Johnson. This one was recommended by Mina Reads, another booktuber on here. I mean, I don't think I have to say that every time. I will have everyone I mentioned linked down below, but obviously that's where I get most of my book recommendations and how I feel inspired to buy a book from time to time is I listen to people yap about that book on the internet. But Mina Reads was talking about this one. I know it focuses heavily on trauma. She talked about how it navigates trauma, particularly in the Black family structure. So yeah, it's a own voices author about a woman. A lot of like the lit fics that I buy are about like a woman in her like 20s or 30s, and just like you get a highlight of her life. So yeah, very excited about this. But we're following our main character Vivian, who is a lawyer, so seems interesting. Once again, love that freaking cover. Feel like I'm matching with these two with my little white dress, but yeah. Anyway, I need to go faster. We got The Happy Couple by Neos Dolan, I think is how you pronounce this. I read this one. It was like 3.5 stars for me, but a very quick, very easy read. She's a tiny book, and again, just another lit fic story. But in this one, obviously you're following a couple. And then I bought this entire trilogy, the Paper Princess trilogy by Erin Watt. I read these books forever ago. Like, I don't even know how long, maybe even close to a decade. I read these when I was a teenager and I loved them so much. And I just saw a really good deal for all 3 of them. And I was like, I want to own those and maybe reread one day. But yeah, read these forever ago. I gave all of them 4 stars, I believe, but I'm just happy to have them on my shelves. Then I got 2 books in the Addicted to You series by Christina and Becca Ritchie. I've heard good things about this series from a couple of different booktubers, specifically Steph Brower, I think is her channel name. But yes, never read either of these. I don't know if this is one of those case scenarios where it was like you had to be there and now if you go back and read them they aren't as good, but I figured I would give it a try and at least grab the first 2. Same thing where I found a really good deal on these and I was like, why not? Then we got The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. We got Black Sprayed Edges, and it's a book about vampires. Absolutely love both of those things, and I've read Leigh Bardugo before. Love Six of Crows, that duology, and I have read Ninth House. I haven't read Hellbent yet, but I really did like Ninth House, so hopefully I read this. And then I also want to read Hellbent at some point too. Too many books in this freaking world to read. Gotta drag this other pile over. But next up, another one that I've already read is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I ended up giving it 4 stars, read it in 2 days. Love reading a thriller in the summertime, and I didn't like how open-ended it was, but that's the case for a lot of thrillers, so whatever. I'm just gonna do these next 3 together because I got them all off of Book Outlet when I was doing one of those orders. I think it was a fiction sale that like every single fiction book was $5 or less. So I added all 3 of these romances. Mixed Signals by B.K. Borison. This is the third book in the Love Light Farm series, but I don't own the first two, and I heard good things about this one, and I don't know if I want to read the first two, so I'm kind of debating. I might just start here. Tell me if you think it's a good series and I need to start with the first two. I don't know. I'm giving mixed signals to this book, mixed signals. We got Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I read Icebreaker. That one was 3.5 stars. This is the second book in that series. Hopefully I like it. It's a romance set at like a summer camp, I believe. So I think it'd be a good idea to read it in the summer. Maybe I can do that soon. And then we got Funny Feelings by Tara Dewitt. I actually don't know anything about this one, but when that sale was going on and I saw this one, I recognized the cover. Looked it up on Goodreads. It sounded good. And also I saw that Chandler Ainsley gave it 4 stars, and I trust her opinions, especially on romance. And if she gave it 4 stars, might be worth a read. Also, it's pretty tiny, so why not? Then we've got Lore Olympus Volume 6. This one by Rachel Smith, obviously. I love this series so much. I read this almost as soon as I got it. It was 5 stars, amazing, and I cannot wait for the 7th one to come out. It's actually coming out on my wedding anniversary, which I think is just a little bit of a present to me, but I can't wait for that 7th one to come out October 1st. So excited. I think I've said excited 17 million times, but how else do you describe a book that you bought recently that you like want to read? I don't know. Then we got Fall of Ruin and Wrath by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I actually haven't read her From Blood and Ash series. I do own the first 2, but I haven't read that. I think I read her books forever ago when I was in like middle school, those alien ones, and I really liked them. This is her newest series that have come out. Found it on Book Outlet, said why not. And then we've got The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. Heard really good things about this by a couple of girlies on booktube. It's a gothic fantasy horror. I love all of those keywords. I've heard really good things about Roshani Chokski's writing. The cover is gorgeous. The next 3 are romances. I bought all of these on Amazon when I was in like a I want to get more dark romances era, because I was reading a lot of contemporary romances that I have, and I realized that I'm pretty picky in the contemporary romance genre, but with fantasy romances I kind of like them for the most part. I think I'm able to like disbelieve a little bit more, like the insta love and stuff like that, and there's like paranormal, or I don't know. I was just in one of those moods and I got The Rose by Tiffany Rezis. This is a Greek mythology romance. Love Greek mythology. Thought I'd give it a try. Then we've got The Ever King by LJ Andrews. This one is a fae pirate fantasy romance. Interesting combination. I've heard really good things about this one as well. And yeah, fae pirates just sounds interesting. Like, fae is one thing, but now they're on the ocean? Like, what's going on? I don't know. I know this is a series. I only have the first one, so we'll see if I love it. Then we've got Prisoner by Annika Martin and Skye Warren. This one is a little bit insane because it's between like a girl who teaches a writing class in a prison and a prisoner. So this really reminded me of Margot Robbie and whatever that Joker was. Who played that Joker? I don't even know. Doesn't matter. But it reminded me of that plot line where Harley Quinn like fell in love with the Joker and broke her out of prison. Pretty sure that's like the same storyline here. And I don't know. Love Harley Quinn. That just made me think of her. It got me interested in this book. Also very interesting for a dark romance. Like a prisoner. Like he's probably going to use her to escape. Very interesting. Then we've got Annie Bot by Sierra Greer. Really love this book. I gave it 4 stars. It's like a horror AI vibes. Like you're in the head of this AI and she's like a pleasure bot. So somebody bought her basically as like a girlfriend. But yeah, really love being in Annie's head. She's an AI, so she looked at the world very interestingly. It's a super quick read, tiny book, and yeah, really ended up liking this more than I thought. I got off Amazon and I got the Book of the Month edition. I don't even know how that happened, but I hate Book of the Month editions because of this little like thing on the spine, and this, it just like ruins this beautiful cover for me. Whatever, I'm keeping it because I loved it. And then I already owned the first 2 books in this series, but I ended up buying the 3rd and 4th of King of Creed and King of Sloth by Anna Huang. I read the Twisted series and I love those 4 books. I haven't started this one yet, but now I have the 4 that are out. And yeah, I just love Anna Huang's writing for a contemporary romance book. And since I'm picky about those, if I find an author I like, I'm going to stick to her. So now I have the first 4 books in this series. I'll grab these and add it to it. Hopefully I can get reading these very soon. But yes, just wanted to keep adding on to the series. And again, I think they were just really cheap on Amazon one day for some reason. Like they were less than $10 for each of these 2. And I was like, well, I know I'm going to pick them up at some point, so might as well pick them up when they're really cheap. And in that same Amazon order, I picked up Wild Love by Elsie Silver. Same reason, I wasn't going to pick this up until after I finished the Chestnut Spring series, but for some reason it was like $7 and it was really soon after it came out. It was so cheap. Normally these books are supposed to be like $17.99. I know I love Elsie Silver. I'll probably want to read this series after I read Chestnut Springs. So I turned off the AC, but now the sun is setting and it's getting so hot. So we are going to go even faster because oh my god. I got Sinner by Sierra Simone, really cheap on Amazon. I already had the first one. And Riley Marie gave this 5 stars, said it was so good. Hera by Jennifer Saint. I've read everything by Jennifer Saint and very, very, very excited to read this book. Gorgeous copy with that gold foiling. And I'm very interested in Hera's story. She came up a lot in that 6th volume of Lore Olympus, and I read that and I was like, you know, Hera's a very interesting character. And then that's the new Jennifer Saint that came out. So very lucky me, love Greek mythology, want to learn more about this girly. We are on the final stack. Got a classic. This is Stoner by John Williams. Kate Literature read this for her book club earlier in the year and I wasn't planning on picking it up, but she absolutely loved it and gave it 5 stars and it inspired me to pick up this book as well. But yeah, this is the 50th anniversary edition. That's how you know it's a freaking classic. Excited to add it to my classic shelf and very gorgeous edition. Hopefully I love it and give it a 5 as well. We've got Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. I found this one at Costco. This is her newest release and I was like, let's do it. The Discord of Gods by Jen Lyons. Had to add more books to the book outlet order and I already own the first 4 in this series. This was the last one in the series, so I figured let's complete it so that whenever I do want to read it, I can read all 5 of these and I have them ready to go. Then we've got The Winners by Frederick Bachman. This was in that book outlet order and again, exact same reason I own the first 2 books in the series. It's a trilogy. This is the 3rd and final one. So I was like, let's pick it up so that whenever I do read it, I have all 3 ready to go. Then we've got Trust of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. Read a lot of different books by Brandon Sanderson. I think he is an amazing author and this book is kind of a love story to his wife. He wrote it for her and I think that's gorgeous. I love the freaking cover and when I found it on book outlet for so cheap, I was so excited because I had this on my wish list on Amazon, but I wasn't planning on reading it anytime in the near future. I just wanted to get it when it was cheap and you know, I'd check every now and then, but didn't even end up getting it on there. Got it for a really good price. Then we've got Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. I've read 3 of his books before. 2 of them were 4 stars. 1 of them was 2 stars. So he's got a good batting average for me. Like for the most part, I enjoy his books other than that one. So hopefully I like this one. This one actually got decent praise when it came out. So I'm interested in it. Obviously it's a thriller, a haunted house story. Haven't read one of those in a while. So hopefully I like it. Then we've got Upgrade by Blake Crouch. I've read his other 2 books, Dark Matter and Recursion. Both of those were 4 stars for me, so decided to pick up Upgrade. Also, this blue is such like a beautiful, vibrant blue. I really love this cover. But yeah, hopefully I like it just as much as the other 2, but we will see. Then we've got Out There by Kate Folk. This is a sci-fi collection of short stories and all of the stories are very, very short. Some are even just a couple of pages. So hopefully I like this. Then we've got The Blue Castle by Elle Montgomery. This is another classic. This cover is stunning. Ariel Bissett mentioned it on YouTube. And then, you know, I looked it up and it was super cheap. And I was like, well, add to cart. Love a tiny classic. With these 2 new ones, now my classic shelf is growing a little bit. Love tiny little classics. And then I've got Thirst by Marina Yusevek. think that's a Russian last name, kind of hard to pronounce. This is a horror about vampires. It's a gothic fantasy. The cover is stunning. Look at that pink spine, gorgeous. Really doesn't take a lot to convince me to get a book about vampires. If one person says that it was good and it's got a beautiful cover, I'm like, well. Next up, we got Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This is actually my current read right now. I'm reading it for a book club for Chloe and Caitlin. They both have this as their July book to read for the month, and July ends next week, so hopefully I can actually finish this today. I have less than 100 pages left, so maybe that'll be possible after I'm finished filming this haul. But yes, Abby Jimenez, I've liked some of her books, I've not liked one of them, and this one I'm a little bit on the fence about. I have, you know, a little less than 100 pages left, so we'll see how it ends, but it's been a little bit lackluster. I don't know about this one. I got these three from Costco as well. We got If We Ever Meet Again, this pink one. Ugh, love the sprayed edges on all of these series. Very, very cute. Then we got If the Sun Never Sets for this purpley. And then If Love Had a Price is green. This is a series that was self-published by Anna Huang, I think back in 2020. And I actually never even heard about it until I saw them at Costco. And I was like, how does Anna Huang have a series that I don't know about? But yeah, I looked, it says they were self-published, and now I guess Bloom picked them up and are putting out these gorgeous little sprayed edge paperbacks. And again, same thing as with, you know, the King of Wrath series. I know that she is a good contemporary author for me, so I feel safe picking these up. Then this one we can blame entirely on Miss Katie Coulson. She raved about The End of Men by Christina Sweeney Baird. But this is a sci-fi dystopia where it's set in a world where a virus stalks our male population. And it says on the top here, only men carry the virus, only women can save us all. So, you know, what would it be? A world without men? I'm pretty sure we follow a bunch of different perspectives of different people losing men, you know, mothers losing sons, wives losing their husbands, and how it affects our world. A couple different snippets of people's experience if that were to happen, which sounds super depressing, but love a depressing sci-fi sometimes. Then we've got Lapnava by Otessa Moshfegh. I read My Year of Rest and Relaxation a little bit earlier in the year, or last year, can't remember, but I gave it 4 stars. It was very unsettling and weird, but I like the writing, and this is her newest book, I believe. Found it on Book Outlet, and I believe why it was on there because it's still a really good hardback, but the dust jacket is a little bit ripped, so I think it's because it was ripped that I got it for a good price. But yeah, very excited to read it nonetheless. Don't care about a little rip in the spine, and happy that I got another one of her books. Okay, final 3. We are almost there. We've got An Education in Malice by S.T. Gibson. I read A Dowry of Blood twice. I loved it both times. That book is so good. 5 stars. Honestly, one of my favorite books of all time. I love A Dowry of Blood. So this was her second book that Miss S.T. Gibson put out. Yeah, I've heard it gives like dark academia to me. This one hasn't been well received. I've heard a lot of people who even liked The Dowry of Blood didn't love this one a lot, but I have to give it my own chance because of how much I love that book. Hopefully I end up loving this, but we will see. Same reason for this next one. I've got A Love Song for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams. I read 7 Days in June by Tia Williams, and I absolutely love that book. 5 stars. That's a second chance romance that does it right. 7 Days in June. Oh my god, that is my favorite second chance romance I think I've ever read. But this one, A Love Song for Ricky Wilde, it's her newest book, so hopefully I love it just as much. And then lastly, we've got The Salt Grows Heavy by Cassandra Khaw. I read one other book by this author. I read Nothing But Blackened Teeth, and I actually hated that book. Fucking hated that. But this one sounded really, really good. Tiny little horror book. It's about mermaids, and there was a lot of trigger warnings for like cannibalism, so I think it's like the siren mermaids that just be killing everybody, and I would love to read a horror book about some deathly mermaids. Like, The Salt Grows Heavy. We'll see how she holds up. But that was all of my books. Thank you so much for watching. All of my socials will be linked down below like always, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!